So the 2024 Liverpool Regional Championships has just finished up, and this is an event that did hit 800 players, 720 masters, and this is a tournament won by Antonio Sanchez. Unfortunately, as you can see here, Victory Road has not got us updated, but of course, our guys over at Top Cut Explorer do have us, they've got some sauce for us here. One thing I will say before jumping into this event though, because I do think this is definitely something we have to keep in mind, especially when talking about it, is this event was not without its controversy. Anyone who basically, has been on Twitter the last couple of days or, watching streams and whatnot, you probably know there was a lot of very good players that basically got, got DQ'd from this event. There are a lot of, look, a lot of funny things. I might even make a video about it tomorrow, just going over it all, because I do think it is important to talk about, at least for the broader community, because I think, when you see some top players that are, clearly genning, and, basically getting DC'd from tournaments, it's obviously not a good thing. But again, that's a story for another day. We will just kind of look at the top teams here. We'll talk about some of the teams, kind of talk about the meta development, and of course, talk about the top used Pokemon. Now, last time I did one of these, I did actually do the usage stats last, which I think was really, really stupid. So because of that, we'll go over here. Our good friends at VGC Data, they've got us sorted here. They got us the day 1 and the day 2 stats here. So I'll quickly have a look at this, right? So obviously, as you can see here, Fluttermane once again dominating the format, sitting at 67%. Ogerpon Watt up 47%, incredibly good. Obviously, one of the best answers in the game to, of course, Urshifu Rapid Strike. Not to mention, also has a pretty damn good matchup into both Fluttermane and Incineroar as well. Because obviously with Terra, you can kind of bop out the, that Fluttermane. And of course, even through, the Intimidate, a Terra Water, or even just, a Crit Ivy Cudgel in general is just going to do a lot of damage. Not to mention, we do see things like Amoonguss, kind of rising up here. And of course, also things like Giraffe, right? The Giraffe loves pairing up with Blood Moon Ursaluna. So having the option to, potentially hit it for super effective damage, while also getting that special defense boost from its Terra, obviously, is also fantastic. And again, Incin, it's kind of sitting here at 38%. I do actually think this is where Incin is going to, kind of sit for the rest of the format, is really in between that 2 to 5 slot. I did say when we saw it drop down to like 6th or 7th usage at one of the events, I did think it was kind of low. I think people were just like, oh, Incin's really bad. It's like, nah, this one's like, it's still probably the best fire type in the format. As you can see, it's the only fire type here in, top 12 for day 1. But then, again, you got things like Tornadoes, Breaks the Tailwind's good. We have both Urshifus here with Single Strike, actually, being the more dominant of the two. I'm not surprised, when you look at some of these mons here, of course, Ogerpon Water here being so high usage. Of course, as well, things like Rillaboom and Amoonguss kind of slipping in. And of course, even things like Raging Bolt, right? There are a lot of mons that can kind of take it on pretty well. Whereas Urshifu, Rapid Strike, Single Strike in particular, it's like, what? Floodmane hits it pretty well, and that's really it for the top 12. Nothing here, really kind of dominates it. Obviously, things like Bleak Wind can be annoying, but of course, you can Wicked Blow here, CC, Wicked Blow, kind of CC, Wicked Blow, like going, threatening, like, okay. Here's something as well I kind of want to touch on here, guys. Like, I think one of the biggest issues I see with people when they play against Farigiraf in particular is they say, oh, well, Helping Hand plus like Terra Normal Blood Moon is just, it's too strong, right? They click Hyper Voice, they run through my team. The way you beat teams like this is you literally just have to go for basically forcing something turn 1 to Terra, right? You need to be able to threaten whatever the partner is, right? If they're going for redirection, sorry, not redirection, for fake out, you need to be able to like have 2 mons that can threaten one-shots on the Giraffe, therefore you kind of force it to Terra. That's why we're seeing things like Chi-Yu pick up a lot, because, Chi-Yu Overheat will just one-shot it, and of course Wicked Blow, oh, and I've kind of jumped thing there, we'll go back. Wicked Blow will also one-shot it as well if it doesn't Terra, and the second they Terra the Giraffe, the Blood Moon Ursaluna just doesn't one-shot things anymore with Hyper Voice, and that's kind of how you beat it, right? So that's why, again, I think this mod's really good. Urshi Rapid, don't really need to talk about it much. This mon clicks Surging Strike. It's really good if they don't have Ogerpon Water or like good switch-ins like Rillaboom. But of course, things with like Choice Scarf U-Turn obviously is just really good into him as well, because you can kind of play around it. Giraffe basically is just dominating right now. Why? I think the Giraffe plus Blood Moon stuff is obviously very, very good. And not to mention the ability just to stop priority in this current format is really good as well, because you look at things like Incineroar with Fake Out. Obviously, the Aqua Jet, the Sucker Punches, the Grassy Glides, the Fake Outs here, the Sucker Punches, the Thunderclaps, the Sucker Punches. A lot of priority here in the top 12, so of course, very, very good. And then really, Rillaboom, arguably probably the second best fake out mod in the game right now, really is kind of, fighting for that top grass type as well, because most of the time, I feel like you see things like Rillaboom plus Ogerpon, and you kind of use Ogre as your water type. But really it depends if you're playing, obviously, Urshi Rapid or the Rillaboom here. Chien-Pao does what Chien-Pao does. We all kind of know what it does, right? It pairs up with strong physical attack as priority moves. It's good. But as long as Giraffe is good, obviously this combo will kind of start to drop off. Amoonguss could honestly be the most underrated mon in the format. Like, it just squeaks into the top 10 here, but I think this mon's incredibly good. Raging Bolt, also definitely one of the hardest mons in the metagame to deal with. I think there are a lot of good teams that really struggle to deal damage to this thing, because it kind of is like, oh, my Fluttermane's like the only thing that really does like real good damage to it. And if they kind of just play well, maybe have a good defensive Terra, maybe have, Calm Mind, all of a sudden the Fluttermane just isn't as good as, before. And of course, seeing King Gambit here in the top 12, we have both Urshifus in the top 12 is actually kind of nutty. I'm not going to lie, but look, the mon's good, right? It's very good into Insins because you can just say, hey, give me the +1. I'm going to just try sweep through your teammates, right? But anyway, we jumped to day 2 here. I don't want to go like as in depth as I kind of just did there. Floodbane still number 1, Ogre still number 2, expected. Urshi Single Strike, man, this thing's ability to convert was absolutely insane. Again, you watch it go from like 27% usage and then 41% day 2. It's kind of nutty. Insin basically hovering around that same mark, right? That 38% mark is what it is. Tornado's kind of dropping a bit. Shroom all of a sudden, as I said, underrated, rises into 7th place, or sorry, 6th place. We see Giraffe here. We even see, the rise of Gambit. A lot of these mods, right? You kind of see the percentages dropping a little, but they're all really damn good. And of course, as well, we do see Landorus Incarnate here kind of, pop up because, again, I actually do think ground types are incredibly important in the current format. And Landorus, Incarnate here is probably the best one. And of course, Indeedee kind of slipping in here as well. I do think Scyspam was really good at this event. I believe we got to see Len VGC as well. Alex Underhill, I believe is his name. He was rocking Scyspam as well, and he did pretty damn good with it. But one thing you probably notice here, guys, is no Urshifu Rapid Strike. Didn't even get 15%, but the craziest thing is it won the tournament once again. Antonio Sanchez here has got the Choice Scarp Water Urshifu. So it is crazy to me to see really that this mod, like, hey, it did not convert to day 2 usage at all. It went from like a top 5, top 6 mod, whatever it was, to didn't even place in the top 12 on day 2, but it still won the event. And the even crazier thing here is obviously this team is Wolfe's team. For those who don't know, this is exactly a straight ripoff of Wolfe Glick's team that he used to win the, was it Portland? I believe it was, no, Charlotte. It was Charlotte. He won the Charlotte Regional with this team. Now, I will kind of throw this out there. I don't know if I should or not. If you guys didn't know, the EVs for this team are public, or not public, like Wolfe put it on his Patreon, but they've been leaked. I've had like 3 different people send me the spreads for this team. I don't really want to put it on my YouTube channel just because I feel kind of bad, saying like, hey guys, here's Wolfe's team. But I guess if you are interested, look, the spreads are out there. I'm sure you can go find them. If you've got friends in the community, they may have them. All it takes is, one person to, pay for the Patreon, and all of a sudden, the spreads are out there. But again, look, it just won back-to-back events. I'm personally playing at the Melbourne, Regional Championships this coming weekend. And I already know that 2 of the best players in my region have both been practicing with this team. So that is definitely very scary. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on. And I do kind of have some ideas on how to beat this team, but I will save those for a later video because I don't really want to give away my source too far out from the event. But yeah, again, we see that team there. Look, it's just good stuff, right? It's probably the best Firewater Grass score we have in the game right now with, Rilla, Insin, and Urshifu Rapid. Everyone kind of knew coming into it was going to be good. We got the Giraffe there, just a fantastic one right now. Very, very good. We also see Fluttermane with the Calm Mind Terra Grass set. This is a speed booster set. One of the players at my local yesterday who beat me with this team referred to it as Xerneas. He gets the speed booster, he clicks the Calm Mind twice, and all of a sudden he's Xerneas. So yeah, Fluttermane obviously really, really good. And finally, the Ogerborn Hearthflame. This was a really interesting one because I did actually make a video prior to the event saying like, hey, I think this mod's like really, really good. And yeah, once again, it had some really, really good results. One of the coolest things I think about this mod though is it could get up the SD Terra. Sorry, not Terra. You can get up the SD, and then Grassy Glide with Terrain up will actually go through Armor Tail because of how like obviously Mold Breaker works. Breaking abilities, which is obviously really damn freaking cool, right? Then again, I'm not gonna lie here too as well. I actually have not had a chance to really look at a lot of these teams. And again, with all the kind of controversy that was going around, I didn't pay too much attention because a lot of really good players got DQ'd in day 2. So yeah, and they had a really cool team as well. So I might even pull that up later. But again, that's a story for another day. The runner-up team here, again, running Bax Caliber though. This is really cool because I did actually make a video about this a while ago, I think. I was also testing Bax Caliber myself because I think it has a fantastic matchup into the metagame. Yeah, I think it's just a super, super underrated mon. And then really just 4 super standard mons here. Don't really need to touch on them too much. Helping Hand on the Instant, definitely kind of cool to see that. Parting Shot, basically dropping the knockoff. Terra Ghost as well. I didn't kind of touch on it with Wolfe's team there, but Terra Ghost Instant is definitely rising up as well. But yeah, look, it's just good stuff. We know what it does. And then bam, Heatran. I think Heatran's really, really good because what a team like this can kind of struggle with is eventually like a Fluttermane in a good position. So not Fluttermane, I guess Fluttermane as well, actually. But Chi-Yu as well. If Chi-Yu ever gets into a good position against teams like this, if it can just start clicking like heat waves in the sun, all of a sudden like Ogerborn has to kind of Terra, but then again, it's in the sun, so it doesn't feel great. Fluttermane obviously deals a lot of damage in the sun itself, but if the Chi-Yu has speed control, it gets one shot. Rillaboom also is a mon that kind of has to Terra or, heat wave, overheat, whatever's going to KO it. And Insyn, while it obviously tanks it pretty well, I don't think it really wants to eat 2 heat waves or, like a heat wave plus anything else coming out of the ally. Because of that, I do think Heat Train is obviously just a fantastic adaptation to this team. And I also think this Monge is just good. I'm honestly shocked that Heat Train doesn't see more play. But again, it comes down to like new toy syndrome, right? Obviously, the metagame's super fresh. And also, Heat Train just gives you like another one that's pretty decent into things like Qian Power plus D-Knight, right? Because it kind of says like, hey, you know, you kind of can't click E-Speed on the D-Knight. Otherwise, the Heat Train is going to mess you up. And then, of course, you can just go Terra Fairy, and then it's like, hey, you know, you can't really touch me with the Qian Power anymore. And, you know, you've kind of just locked into like Stomping Tantrum on the D-Knight. So kind of, you know, it's whatever, right? So really cool team here by Flavio. You know, I love seeing some new mons here. You know, Eduardo here, is it? Yeah, Eduardo Cunha. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Cunha. I apologize for butchering your name there, sir. But, you know, we got the Urshifu Rapid Strike here. Dark here, sorry, with the Focus Sash. Very standard. Assault Vest, Terra Fairy, Raging Bolt. One of the coolest mons in the metagame right now. I am kind of shocked to actually see Terra Blast over Snarl, because I do think Snarl is like fantastic. But I guess Terra Blast here obviously does help out with the, you know, the mirror matchup a lot. But yeah, T-Bolt, Thunderclap, Draco plus Terra Blast, very good. But again, kind of shocked no Snarl simply because this mod is like pretty decent to things like Blood Moon because of the ability just to say like, hey, you kind of have to click Blood Moon. And if your Blood Moon's down for whatever reason, or you don't have Terra Normal, you can't KO me, I Snarl you, I switch out, I cycle, I'm super annoying, yeah. But yeah, standard Ogerpawn here. We see Golden Go here as well with Terra Fairy. Very interesting to see this. You know, one of the homies, Winter Knight, actually does absolutely love his Terra Fairy Golden Go. In saying that, though, he does run Dazzling Gleam. But this is just a very standard Make It Rain Shadow Ball set, right, with lefties. It's good, right? I'm honestly surprised to see no, what's it called, Rillaboom on this team, because I do think Rilla plus Golden Joe is very good. And this team, like, only having Incin as its, like, only Fake Out does kind of feel weird, if you ask me, like, pairing up with Golden Go. But obviously, it's still a really good combo, right? I personally would have just liked to have seen a Rillaboom. But look, this guy just got top 4 at a, you know, a 700+ player tournament, so I can't really judge him too hard, I guess. And then, of course, you know, Tornadoes, you know, it's the, you know, Rain Tornadoes here with Helmet. It's a good mod, man. It's solid. Oh, and that's not what I wanted there. What do we have here? Hisuian Arcanine once again. I believe this is back-to-back top 4s for Hisuian Arcanine. Getting the, you know, the Terra set here with the Terra Fairy. I'm not going to lie, I'm shocked to see Head Smash over something like Terra Blast. But in saying that, I do think Head Smash is very good for just picking up some one-shots, you know, with the Choice Band. Just a very good set. Again, though, we see another, you know, Assault Vest, Raging Bolt here with Terra Fairy. Mon's just good, right? Electro Web as well is actually kind of cool as a secondary speed control. Especially, too, if you are pairing it up with something like, you know, the Landorus Incarnate. Or even, you know, the Urshifu where you say, hey, maybe you're faster than me. I'm just click my Protect here. You know, my bulky Arsmon here is going to click Electro Web. And then I'm going to come through and outspeed you next turn. So yeah, that is very cool. But like, an awesome set here. You know, I love seeing teams like this. No Gleam with a Taunt also is very cool on the Flutter main. You know, we got the Protect here on the Landorus Incarnate. Another Dark Urshi. Just a really cool team, man. Seeing Hisuian Arcanine just like getting results is fantastic. I love that mod personally. I'm a huge fan of it. And then we get another Chi-Yu in the top 8. As you boys know, I'm a Chi-Yu stan. I've actually been rocking this exact team here myself. I am trying to tweak it slightly though, because I don't necessarily think this is the meta call to win the event. But in saying that, it's just had back-to-back top 8s. I did touch on it in the last video as well. At least the last, you know, recap of one of these events. But yeah, look, still a really cool team. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Fish. The Fish Sunny Day, Terra Fire Heatwave. For anyone who doesn't know what it does, I guess, the Heatwave is a very good chance to KO Farigiraf always. I do think there are some sets, like Wolfe set might live it maybe, but it's very hard. If you don't lead Fake Out with, like, you know, your draft to basically stop the Chi-Yu, it'll mess you up. And even if you do, you lead it with something like Shifu Single Strike here. And kind of as we said earlier, right, you know, you Wicked Blow it, you go for, like, the Heat Wave, and it kind of forces the Terra out of the draft, and then all of a sudden, you know, they don't really have the best answers to make sure that their Blood Moon does sweep through, which is obviously very you know, cool if you are playing that that kind of style of team. We see another really cool team here. This is actually another team I've almost been testing. I basically have tested this exact same team here, but instead of Regidrago, I had Fluttermane with Choice Specs. It's really cool. You know, I've seen this Urshifu, sorry, not the Urshifu, the Iron Crown just do so much damage, man. But look, this is a really cool team. It's basically just kind of like a... The way I look at it is it's just, if you lead wrong, the game's over. It's like, if you worry, like, too much maybe about, like, the Urshi Rain with, like, Tornadoes, and then you just get side spammed, it's rough. Like, if, you know, maybe you don't put enough respect on the Regidrago, all of a sudden Tailwind plus, like, Dragon Energy is just going to run through your team. Even Ogerpawn Fire is a mod where it's like, oh, you know, they lead it next to the Urshi Rapid, they're just going to follow me so you can't hit it. And then all of a sudden they just, like, Terrify bop you, right? They've got, you know, Ivy Cudgel, they've got Woodhammer, which, again, I'm a huge fan of Woodhammer. I love that people are picking up Woodhammer again. Just because I think the damage coming off this thing is insane. But yeah, just another really cool team there. Very hyper offensive, which, you know, your boy does love. You see Nick's team here, dude. Like, this is one thing I love about this format, right? Like, you are seeing some things like Incy and Urshi, you know, on a lot of teams. Another Terra Fairy Snarl, you know, Raging Bolt, you know, really cool. But then you just see, like, the Cresselia, right? And it's like skill swap. Like, what are you skill swapping, man? You, like, I can't see anything on this team that you try to skill swap. So it's like, is this just your, like, your Dondozo matchup? Are you just skill swapping there unaware? Like, is that it? Like, to me, that's literally what it is. You just skill swap there unaware, and you're just trying to heal up your ally or something. I don't know, dude. It's kind of wild, right? And then, of course, you know, you start, like, looking down the rest of the team. We see another Dark Urshi. Yeah, we said that before, but it's this one here. It's Registeel. This mod, I think, is actually nuts, right? Because the way this kind of functions, right, is you're like, hey, I got this Cresselia that can heal it up, right? It's like, yo, you burn me, whatever, Lunar Blessing, right? And then it's like, oh yeah, the easiest way to beat this mod is you just don't let it set up its iron defenses. But all of a sudden, they just start cycling their double fake outs here. And it's like fake out parting shot into fake out, and then you're back into intimidate, and then into fake out the punch. Yeah, it's annoying, right? And then Registeel kind of sits there. He's like, oh, I've got grassy terrain, you know, I got leftovers. Maybe Cresselia gets off, you know, a Lunar Blessing or two. Then all of a sudden, this Registeel is just like, you know, +6 physical defense, one-shooting your whole team. Just a really cool, you know, like balanced team here. It is nice to see like a balanced team as well do well, especially too because this team has like 0 speed control outside of Trick Room. So yeah, that's also really, really cool. And then finally here, we actually do see Dozo sneak into the top 8 here with Joan, I believe. Is it Joan? I believe it's Joan. I could be wrong. I apologize. I'm not great with these European names. Probably not even a European name. I'm probably just an idiot. But again, pretty standard stuff. We do actually see a Life Orb Tatsugiri here. Another Rocky Helmet Dozo, you know, chop across doing things with it. We see another Power Herb Glamora, good one. You know, we see pretty standard Tornadoes. But then just look at this Fluttermane. You're like, Misty Terrain Fluttermane. I guess, look, Misty Terrain's good, right? I believe you can't get Spored. I believe you actually just can't get Statused in general. So yeah, look, still really, really cool to see it, man. Everyone's playing the Icy Wind Fluttermane, dude. I was ahead of my time. You know, I was running this, you know, back at Brisbane. People called me crazy. And now, look, everyone's freaking running it, man. Icy Wind Fluttermane, yeah, it's the sauce, boys. I absolutely love it. But yeah, look, we could like go through and look at all the teams here. I will look at Kian's team here just because I do think it's pretty sick. Again, another Choice Banded Arcanine in the top 16, pretty cool. Another Golden Joe with Plot. But the real main thing on this team that I want to look at is these last 3 months, right? Because you got 3 relatively standards. Then you got Brian Hands once again making an appearance, but this time he's got Terra, Ice Punch. Absolutely wild, man. Look, that's really cool. I do like it. But I don't know if Ice is the Terra. Like, maybe there's, like, KOs you pick up with it. I don't know, but I feel like that's a Trick Room set. I could be wrong. Like, maybe. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Close Combat's really cool. Wild Charge, obviously, is standard. But Terra Ice Punch to me is nutty. I don't get it. But then you got the old standard, like, support Roaring Moon here with knockoff Breaking Swipe. Terra Poison. It's good. Tailwind Setter. But then you got the Galarian Articuno. I'm a huge fan of this mon. I've just never had the balls to actually try it. And you see it here, it's got competitive, it's got Trick Room, you know, Freezing Glare, Terra Blast. I mean, it's just a cool team, dude. Seeing like these 3 here make top 16, it's pretty nutty. Now, shit. I believe one of these players on this list, I really need to check it, and I'll probably touch on it tomorrow. I believe one of these players made like top 8 or top 16 with 4 mons. I don't know who it was. I can't believe I can't remember it. But whoever did that, that's absolutely insane. I could be wrong, but that's pretty nutty. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, anyway, like, again, we could go through, like, all these teams here. Is there, like, anything really I want to touch on here? Size Spam. Oh, yeah, this Alex Soto's team here, full Size Spam. Really, really cool. Like, I did actually get to catch 1 game on stream, I think. It's just cool. It's just, like, hard Trick Room with, like, just a lot of Size Spam. Yeah, very, very cool. Seeing, like, a hard Trick Room team do that well is, like, obviously nice. We see some more Trick Rooms here, too. Some more Size Spam. Size Spam good. Iron Crown good. You know, we see Joseph Ugarte here, of course, you know, my rival, the man who eliminated me from my first international championship. You know, he's doing bitsy. You know, he's got the Gouging Fire with the Howl, the Breaking Swipe, the Terra Fairy. It's cool, you know, this is just a Howl team. It's kind of like a new adaptation to these Chen Power teams where it's like, hey, we're not going to try beat you with priority. We're just going to try beat you with really strong physical attacks. And again, you have a look at it, right? You got things like Breaking Swipe. You got things like Amoonguss to really slow things down. And then, of course, you know, if you start howling up things like, you know, an Assault Vest D-Knight, yeah, sure, it's not a choice band of D-Knight, but after 1 howl it is. And all of a sudden it can change its moves. You know, it's really cool. Same thing with like Chant Power and Ogre Pawned Water. Ogre Water is a fantastic support, but if these things got like a little bit of attack in it, all of a sudden at +1, it absolutely starts clapping. You know, not to mention as well, you got things like D-Knight, you've got things like King Gambit that are like, hey, we don't really care if you got Intimidate. It's whatever, you know. So Joseph, you gotta, you know, shout out to you, my guy. Hope we can battle once again. And I guess, look, I'm going to quickly talk about Niall's team here. This is another really sick one. One of the homies told me about this like 2-3 weeks ago. This is the Choice Scarf Eruption Entei. I believe off memory, this is like, I forget if it was Timid or Modest, but it's literally like just max special attack with like 0 attack investment. But it doesn't matter because like Sacred Choice Scarf Sacred Fire is still a pain in the ass because if you start burning shit, it's super annoying. Especially if they've got something like, you know, for example, Scarf Urshi. It's like, hey, I'm just faster than you. I'm going to burn you with Sacred Fire. It's like, oh yeah, great. Now you've just wasted your mon. And I said, you know, like if it's a good fucking, you know, if it's a good eruption game, great. If it's not, hey, I've still got other things I can do. I can still get, you know, a pretty strong stomping tantrum. I can still fire off, you know, blitzes and sacred fires in the sun. And also, I don't care about intimidate. You can't intimidate me. You can't fake me out. It feels freaking good, man. This is a really, really cool team. We also see, like, it has, like, the Cornerstone Ogerpon, Trick Room Fluttermane with, like, that's the speed control, and there's Blood Moon, Frugrov, Torkoal. It's just sick, man. I love it. Really, really cool. Any other teams here? We do see an Articuno, like, Hail team as well, top 32. One of the boys at the local was running that as well. Weezing also getting top 32. I think Weezing's a really cool call right now. I think that one's actually incredibly good because there are a lot of ones in the current metagame that all need their abilities. What else? Is there anything? I mean, like, obviously, look, there's a lot of cool teams. If you guys want, like, obviously go jump in and dive into this. Unfortunately, I don't really have the time today to really go, like, as in-depth as I'd like on a lot of these teams because there's a lot of sick teams. You know, the further down you go here, there's a lot more, you know, cool stuff. But, of course, boys, we got to check one thing. How many Chiyus did we get? Oh, what have I done? What have I done? How many Chiyus did we get day 2? That's what's important here. Chien Pao. Chiyu 3. Bang. Good. I hope Chiyu falls off, boys, because I'm going to go win Melbourne Regional with it next week. Yeah, that's it for today. Catch you boys in the next one. Peace.